Hello. If we haven't met before, my name is Steph, and today we have a short practice focused around our hips. When you're ready, come and meet me on the mat, and we'll get started today in a downward facing dog. Making your way into your downward facing dog by taking your hands to the front of your mat, stepping your feet to the back of the mat, and lifting your hips up and back behind you. Take a few moments to settle into your downward facing dog and make any micro adjustments that you need to here. Taking the hands about shoulder width apart, feet about hip width apart. And we'll slowly start to bend into one knee at a time here. Taking deep bends into one knee at a time as you work to straighten the opposite leg. And we'll change sides. Doing this a few times in your own time, to your own rhythm. Maybe you do them a little bit more quickly than I'm doing them. Maybe you do them a little bit more slowly. We want to be inviting length into the backs of the legs here, stretching out through our hamstrings. Take one more either side. Let's settle into stillness in our downward facing dog. With an inhale breath, lift your left leg up to the sky for a three-legged dog. And then bend the knee, hug the left heel in towards the left glute. Open the hips here as you lift that left knee to the sky. This should feel quite freeing in the hips as you let them open out to the side. Lifting that left knee high, take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, we're stepping that left foot all the way to the front of our mat, in between the hands, and we lower down to the back knee. Climb your hands up onto that left thigh, making your way up into a low lunge. In our low lunge here, we are working to hug our low ribs in. That's going to engage the core, and we're going to get this really lovely sensation across the front of our right hip as we stretch into the hip flexor. If you can keep the low ribs hugging in and you can let the hips creep forward, take that. And we'll breathe here for about 3 or so rounds of breath. Settling into your own rhythm of breath. Slightly longer and deeper exhales than you would usually take. We've got one more inhale breath together here. And an exhale. We will slowly take our hands down to the inside of that left foot now. Bring the hands back to your mat. Heel toe left foot nice and wide. You might place your left hand where the left foot was. You can stay here, lizard lunge with the right knee on the mat, or you can tuck your back toes and lift the right knee away from the floor. Find stillness here in your lizard lunge, or maybe start to find a bit of movement, rocking forward and back. Maybe letting the hips sway side to side. So just know that there's no right or wrong here. I really encourage you to get curious about what feels good in your body and go searching for those spaces that do feel a little bit tight and see how you can invite stretch into those areas. Let's take one more inhale breath here, still finding movement in our lizard lunge, and a breath out. If you do still have that back knee on the mat, let's lift it up and slowly walk your hands now around towards the right, pivoting the feet as you go. We'll come to land in a wide leg forward fold. Our toes are turning to face this long edge of our mat. The hands might land here towards the edge of the mat, or you may walk your hands in line with the feet as you fold in towards your legs a little bit more. Working to straighten the legs as best we can here, but there may still be a bend in the knees. And we're aiming to stretch out through the inner lines of the legs as well as the backs of the legs here. Finding that steady rhythm of your breath again. One more breath in and a breath out. Slowly start to walk your hands so that they land directly underneath the shoulders and lift your chest so now it's parallel to the floor. Start to bend into your right knee. You may like to turn your right toes towards the back of your mat slightly. And then keep the hands underneath the shoulders. But as we start to bend into that right knee, you may just have to so sidestep the hands about one hand width to the right so they can stay underneath the shoulders. And you can stay here, or you may continue to bend in that right knee. You may come up onto the heel of your left foot, and you may bring the hands closer in towards the body. Really big stretch into the inside line of this left leg here. Really open through that right hip. If you can take the hands together in front of the heart, lift them away from the mat, you can take that option. And let's be here for one more inhale breath. And staying for that exhale. Wherever you are, we're turning to face the back edge of our mat now. Left hand to the inside of your right foot. Let the feet pivot to face the back of the mat and come up onto the ball of the left foot. Reach your right hand up to the sky for a twist. Maybe look up towards your right thumb. So you can find a little bit of engagement in the front of that left quad, lifting the left kneecap up. Take a deep breath in and stay for the breath out. Bring your right hand down to the mat and then step back into a downward facing dog. We'll start to take the bend into the knees again in downward facing dog, walking out the dog, alternating the bend in the knees. Settling back into that steady rhythm of your breath. And slowly finding stillness in downward facing dog for one round of breath together. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling back out through your nose. It's our right leg that lifts up and back behind us. Right leg lifts to the sky with an inhale. And then bend the knee, open the hip, and lift the right knee to the sky. So we're hugging right heel in towards right glute, lifting that right knee nice and high. Finding your breath. Take a deep breath in. Can you lift that right knee a little bit higher? And with the breath out, you step the right foot in between the hands. Lower to your left knee. Climb the hands up onto that right thigh for your low lunge. Again, working to draw or hug the low ribs in here, engage the core and feel this really beautiful opening across the front of the left hip. Hands are on the thigh for support, and we'll settle in for those 3 or so rounds of breath. Nice opportunity here to connect back to your breath. So we find a bit of sensation in the pose, creating that space and freedom in the body. One more inhale breath here. And exhale. Releasing the hands now to the mat on the inside of the right foot, heel toe right foot over to the edge of your mat. Maybe place your right hand where the right foot was. You can keep the left knee on the mat or lift the left knee away. Find stillness or start to find that movement here. Any movement that feels good for you. And if you're not really sure, allow this to be a little bit of an experiment. Start to rock forward and back. Does it feel good? If it doesn't, come back to stillness. Try side to side. Notice how that feels. Notice if you're met with any resistance. One more round of breath here, just getting curious about your body. And then if that left knee is still on the mat, we lift it up. We walk our hands around to the left to meet back in that wide leg forward fold. Pivoting the feet so that the toes are facing this long edge of our mat. Reaching the hands down and letting them land where they land. If you would like to walk them back in line with the feet or all the way through the legs, those options are there for you. Can you shift a little bit more weight forward into the balls of the feet? This will help bring the hips in line with the ankles. And you may notice you get a little bit more stretch through the backs of the legs. Maybe even into those inside lines of the legs. One more steady inhale breath here. And a steady exhale. Slowly walk the hands so they land directly underneath the shoulders and lift your chest so it's parallel to your mat. We come into our side lunge, starting to bend into the left knee. As you take the bend into the left knee, you sidestep your hands about one hand distance to the left. Stay here. You may start to turn the left toes out. Continue bending into the left knee. Maybe come onto the heel of your right foot. Maybe come all the way down into your Skandasana. Remember, take this step by step. You might still be in that side lunge a little bit more lifted. Maybe you have the hands together in front of your heart here. Wherever you are, take one more steady breath in and a steady breath out. We turn back to face the front of our mat now. Right hand to the inside of that left foot, pivot on the feet. Come right up onto the ball of that right foot. Left hand slowly reaches up to the sky, finding a twist. And then see if you can find some engagement in the front of that right quad, lifting that right kneecap up. Maybe gaze up towards the left thumb. Take a full breath in. Stay for the full breath out. Bring your left hand back down to the mat. Step your left foot back. Downward facing dog. Settling back into that steady rhythm of your breath in downward facing dog. Finding length in the backs of the legs. Notice if your heels can reach a little bit closer towards the mat now. Enjoying one more slow, steady inhale. And slow, steady exhale. We'll mindfully bring our knees down towards the mat. Take your knees to one side of the mat, bring your hips to the other. Come to meet in a seated butterfly position. Soles of the feet come together, knees open wide. And we'll just take a few rocks side to side here. When you next come over onto your right hip, we'll stay. Right forearm gently pressing into the inside edge of that right leg. Release your left hand to the inner edge of your left knee and see if you can open the left knee a little bit more. Take that deep breath in and enjoy the deep breath out. Left hand comes back to the ankle. Take that rock side to side again. When you next come onto your left sit bone, we stay. Left forearm gently grounding that inner left leg down. Right hand to the inside edge of your right knee as you press it away from you, open it up. Enjoying a steady inhale breath here. And a steady exhale. Releasing right hand back to the ankle, just rock it out a few times. And then you can either Cross the legs to find an easy seat, or maybe you choose to sit back on the heels of the feet and gently press your palms together in front of your heart. Eye gaze soft off the tip of the nose here, or maybe you've closed the eyes completely. And just take a moment to tune into any lingering sensations you may be noticing in the hips. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Namaste.